Something strange is happening with Hedera, the same project that's being slammed for being too centralized and dismissed as a corporate blockchain dinosaur is now quietly becoming the backbone for billion-dollar institutions, AI frameworks, and even real-world asset tokenization. But why? Why are major players suddenly building on Hedera when the crypto community keeps writing it off? Is it just a flashy smokescreen, or are we completely missing something massive? I'll be honest, I had my doubts about this project too, but what I discovered recently made me completely rethink everything I thought I knew about Hedera. And honestly, it shocked me. Do you really think billion-dollar institutions are picking Hedera by accident, or is there something they know that you don't? I used to think Hedera was too corporate to survive long term, but then I saw something that completely flipped my outlook, and I'll reveal that in just a minute. Stick around because what I'm about to show you could completely change the way you see this project. And if you want the latest alpha on crypto projects before it hits YouTube or X, then check out the FireHustle VIP Discord. That's where I share early access to my content, portfolio updates, and tons of research that I don't post anywhere else. Follow the link in the description to learn more and join the community. Now hit those like and subscribe buttons and let's dive right in. But before we dive into why institutions are choosing Hedera, you have to see this, because the price action late last year caught everyone off guard. You can see that the price of hbar went from under 5 cents in November to almost 40 cents just a month later. That's about an 8x climb, which is pretty impressive, especially for a larger cap currency that's already well known. But obviously things cooled down after this, and hbar has been trading in a lower range between 15 and 20 cents for some time now. This pullback shouldn't be too surprising given that most altcoins are actually pretty down from the big pump that we saw at the end of 2024. But for cryptos like hbar that already saw an insane pump, the big question is, will we see a higher trading range? Or should we write this off as a coin that's already pumped this cycle? Well, here's the thing. You can learn a lot about a cryptocurrency by studying price charts and predicting the next move. But the true value for Hedera lies within the project and the many things they've been up to lately. And I'll admit there's a lot going on with this team. Now, before we get into some recent news for Hedera, one quick note for all of you crypto traders out there. I often get asked about my favorite exchanges to use, and the truth is, I don't have one. There are too many hacks and downtimes to just rely on a single platform. Even major platforms like Coinbase have had major outages. That's why I personally use over 10 exchanges. And one of my main go-to platforms is WEEX, which has no KYC or location restrictions. So yes, traders in the USA and Canada don't have to worry about being blocked. They offer some of the lowest fees on trading, and if you sign up with my link down below, you'll receive a 200 USDT bonus and a chance to earn up to 30,000 USDT in rewards. Alright, so there's been growing interest in hbar investment products lately. A few months ago, both Canary Capital and Grayscale filed to launch hbar ETFs, and we're now waiting on the SEC to make a decision, likely sometime in June. The initial filing from Canary Capital actually lines up with when the market was pushing up, and it's believed that this announcement gave the hbar price an extra push towards 40 cents. Then on June 3rd, just days ago, 21 Shares launched a Hedera ETP, making it the second hbar ETP in Europe after Valor's in 2024. These products let regular investors buy into hbar through normal stock trading apps without needing a crypto wallet. The main difference? Well, ETFs are typically more regulated and traded like regular stocks, while ETPs are often used in Europe and can cover a wider range of assets. So it's clear that hbar is gaining more exposure to traditional investors over time through these products, and an ETF approval could push this even further. But that's not even the wildest part. There's something that just happened behind the scenes and hardly anyone's picked up on it yet, and we'll get into that in a second. But first, let's address something that critics have been talking about across X. There has been some bad news looming around as of recently, and that's the fact that stablecoin activity on the Hedera network has significantly declined. You're probably wondering why this happened and what it means. Well, you can see here on DeFi Llama that at the end of May, the stablecoin market cap was over $200 million. It then fell under $50 million, and just recently it recovered back up to $80 million. So what's the reason for this? Well, it may point to challenges around adoption, utility, and market sentiment. Despite earlier momentum, it seems that stablecoin infrastructure on Hedera hasn't yet reached the level of traction needed to compete with major players like Ethereum. DeFi activity has also cooled off as well, and with fewer users transacting or deploying capital into Hedera's ecosystem, we're definitely bound to see the stablecoin market cap fall. Combine that with short short-term bearish sentiment, and it's clear that the network is facing decreased activity, which reflects in these numbers. But with all of this FUD around the project, you have to wonder, if Hedera is truly on a decline, why are massive companies still building on it and joining its council? Well, one thing that stood out about the Hedera ecosystem is its list of partnerships and collaborations. This list only continues to grow over time. Now, remember when I mentioned something huge happening behind the scenes? Well, that surprise move was Arrow Electronics, a Fortune 500 company and leader in tech distribution, joining the Hedera Council. As a new council member, they'll contribute to governance, run network nodes, and develop supply chain use cases. They've also partnered with Bonzo Finance, which plays a role in the DeFi sector. They're a decentralized lending and borrowing project with a focus on perpetuals, futures, and derivatives. But when you think about different crypto projects, something that people tend to do in this space is categorize projects based on sectors and narratives. And sometimes this also limits the project's potential, as new users only see the project for its involvement in a certain use case. But Hedera is known for being a multi-use case project with services that apply in several different major narratives. But there's one narrative that Hedera has been focusing on majorly, and it's going to be a big one this cycle. That narrative is real-world asset tokenization. RWA tokenization is the process of turning real-world things like real estate, gold, art, or government bonds into digital tokens on a blockchain. This makes investing in these assets more accessible, efficient, and transparent. Real-world asset tokenization is a big focus for Hedera, and they just finalized 3 new partnerships to drive this point home. At the end of May, they partnered with Vera Standards and Dovu, 2 companies focused on tokenizing carbon credits. And they also partnered with StegX, a company tokenizing over $100 million in real estate assets on Hedera. RWA tokenization is expected to become a multi-trillion-dollar sector within the next 10 years, and it's a pretty major narrative for this bull cycle. Hedera already has a global investment company called Aberdeen that tokenized their billion-dollar market fund on Hedera in partnership with Archax. And by the way, if you're looking to position yourself early on projects like this, then make sure you're using a platform that gives you flexibility. That's why I personally use WEEX as one of my go-to exchanges. With no KYC, low fees, and access for both the US and Canadian traders, it gives me the edge I need to jump in fast. You'll find the link down below with the sign-up bonus and the chance to earn big rewards. Now, I'm personally only scratching the surface when it comes to Hedera. While newer projects are grabbing headlines, Hedera has been quietly building for years, forming deep-rooted partnerships and laying the foundation for mass adoption. Over the years, Hedera has strategically aligned itself with major global enterprises through its council, which includes names like Google, IBM, and Boeing. This gives it both credibility and stability for the long term. So while it might not be the flashiest project out there, the team has been quietly laying the groundwork for massive real-world integration. And that's where the real value often lies, in my opinion. Now, I don't know what the future holds for every crypto, but I do know this. When billion-dollar institutions start making quiet moves, it's usually not by accident. And Hedera might be the clearest signal yet that the next wave of adoption is already being built quietly, strategically, and faster than most people realize. As always, none of what I say is financial advice. Please don't blindly jump into anything just because I mention it in a video. My intention with these videos is to create a foundation of understanding and open up a discussion about different topics and projects in crypto. One piece of advice I will provide you with is to do your own research. Read more about what's going on and really understand the project. That way you can make the best informed decision according to your personal goals. And if you want to know more about the projects I'm watching closely, then come and join me in the FireHustle Discord. You can find the link in the description below. Also, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of my content. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.